Hello there, everybody. Happy Sunday. Chief Meteorologist Andrea Michaels here with another Sunday of On Cloud43. The live stream, of course, where we take our time with the forecast, we nerd out, and we talk about all of the stuff that we can't really cram into the 2.5 to 3 minutes that you usually see in our broadcast. So if you have questions, bring them. We talk, of course, the forecast in the short term, the next 7 days. But every so often, we sprinkle in a little extra that you won't be able to get elsewhere also. So, we'll get right to it, I suppose. Wait for some people to jump onto along the way. And we'll just start straight up with the 7-day forecast because that's how I like to do things here. We've got gusty winds out there. We're tracking some showers, downpours, needed rainfall, of course. We definitely need the rain for sure. And yes, wind gusts are going to be with us through the next several days. In fact, it's going to look a lot like fall. In fact, this does look a lot more like fall than it has so far this month, but it's what you would expect. Hello there, Scott, and thank you very much. Oh, no way. I'm glad to hear that. That's amazing. Hi, Adam. Welcome back for another week. And hello there, Brad. Hopefully everybody is having a wonderful Sunday and had a wonderful weekend. Getting back to the forecast, we cool off a bit for Monday. Briefly, it'll be seasonal before a quick little spike of milder air, but it shouldn't be as mild as today was. My goodness, though. I wish we had more days I should say, like today before we finally cooled things down a bit. But, yes. Whew. Oh boy, wow, everybody's jumping on here. All right, I was afraid. It started silent and then all of a sudden everybody was on. Let's see. Got to catch up here. Oh, Adam, I'm doing really good today. Just getting back into the swing of things for my 1 day of work, and then I have 2 days off, and then I'm going to have 2 days on before being off again for my weekend. I know, the way I did it was a little interesting, but I had a method to my madness. William, I hope you have a great day too and that it's been a wonderful day for you so far. And other William too. There are 2 Williams on there. I'm just seeing this right now. Oh, and Jason. Here you go, Jason. You saw some scud clouds in your area. Where were you, by the way? Because I was looking at Franklin County and it looked like, gosh, the rotation was so broad but so weak at the same time. But there was a little period of time where I was like, something trying to happen here. But it's just, we really ended up with no cape and we really didn't bring in our temperature to dew point spread and tighten that up a little bit. So, I've been keeping an eye on it all evening, but it just does not, it just really has looked very lackluster, for a lack of a better term there. But it's been on the radar for sure. Oh, Nathaniel, you went to Crimson yesterday, right next to Fox 43. Yeah, we were there. I'm assuming you're mentioning that because I think we were there, 2 weekends ago? Not this past Friday, but the Friday before then. Sorry, I'm fidgeting around a bit. I cannot get comfortable. Being a short person, my feet never touch the ground, so it's really hard to get comfortable in normal-sized chairs. If you know, you know. I'm sure most of you don't, though. Hi, Avery from Lewistown, buddy. Yes. Thank you, and same to you. It's great following you. I love following fellow weather weenies. You have to apologize. I got set my tray 4 of my dental aligners, and I hope it means that they're shifting and they're doing the job, but I've been finding it a little more difficult to talk this time around than with previous times. The adjustment been a little more difficult, so give me a little bit of grace here, guys. It's like every 2 weeks I have to do this all over again, and then I get used to it by the end of the 2 weeks, and then I put in the next tray, and then it's like trying to learn how to talk all over again, and this one just happens to be a little more difficult than the last 3 have been. Let's see, Adam. Oh, you have 4 day you're at day 4 at work. Well, hopefully you have a little time off coming and you don't have to work, 7, 8 days. I don't miss those stretches. Those have definitely been hard. You're in West Perry Township in Snyder County. Where's my phone? So I can pull up a velocity mode for you. I didn't think it looked that impressive up there. Yeah, I mean, it's really not looking too impressive in Snyder County. I was really more concerned in Franklin County, but then as of the last, what time is it now? 8:00. I want to say as of like the last 25 to 30 minutes or so, I mean, there was one brief moment for maybe 10 minutes. Okay, so that's more than a moment. But there was a brief period of time for like 10 minutes where I was a little concerned by some of the spin that I was seeing on radar. But nothing's been just standing out at me and jumping out and ringing the alarm bells, so to speak. I really just think it's gusty winds and some brief downpours in spots more than anything. And we'll cover that, of course, on the radar since we finally have some rain to talk about. Obviously, I mean, you all know what it's been like. It feels like, if we're lucky, it rains like one day a week, and then that's that. We continue to dry up more. Oh, yeah, and now that I look at the reflectivity, I'm not the storm relative velocity mode, by the way, Jason. Yeah, I just think we're losing it. I really don't think you have to worry too much the rest of the night. I mean, when I was looking at the 12Z soundings or profiles of the atmosphere, temperature and dew point, among other things, and wind speed too from the ground up high in the atmosphere, nothing was jumping out at me. I know the Storm Prediction Center highlighted York and Lancaster counties in a 2% tornado probability and the rest of the area in a 5% wind probability. But when I posted my mobile short with the forecasts like we do now, I didn't really mention it because it just, like I said, nothing was jumping out or raising the alarm bells at me and whatnot. Jacob, I mean, I would say there's still technically a tornado threat. When the Storm Prediction Center, I guess, updated their outlook maybe an hour or so ago, they kept the 2% tornado probability in York and Lancaster counties, but I'm really just still not feeling it. I mean, I guess I can see if I look at the photographs how maybe, but I just don't think, especially since we didn't really build up any energy today with the sunshine and whatnot, I would sleep soundly if you were going to bed in like the next hour if it were me. Oh, Avery, yeah, you hated braces, spacers, and retainers. Oh, man. It was, yeah. I mean, I guess ideally what I was told was if I was able to get braces when I was a child, they would have done... I guess is it the spacers? They would have done something, placed some sort of contraption in me to help expand my jaw in particular on the bottom, because I guess I needed more room, but they can work around it, I'm told. Surgery would be the only way to fix it, and obviously at my age, that's just not ideal, but the perfect smile is coming by the end of next year. Let's see. Yeah, I saw, Jacob, that the SPC had us in that 2% risk, and yeah, they kept us there. I just, like I said, I'm like jumping through hoops to try to make a case for it, and when that's the way I feel, I think at this point too, especially now that we're at sunset, we're past sunset now, excuse me, for more than an hour now, we didn't get time to build up any energy at all. I checked the evening model runs, and it was just coming up very lackluster. It just wasn't impressive. Oh, Josh, you're funny. I'm only 23, if only. I'm much closer to 40. My husband's first, though. His birthday is on Tuesday. Not 40, but so close I can make fun of him for it now, but I'm piggybacking right behind, so I don't get to do that for long. Oh, Brad, I'm sorry, I missed this comment here from you. Have I played Nintendo Switch 2? I have not. We actually don't have a Switch in our house. We might consider one when Ava gets a little older, but right now we've just been buying cheap little games for her to play on. In fact, Mike, that's my husband's name, by the way, Mike got her this little, it's so thin, it's so lightweight, this tiny console that only has Super Mario Brother games on it. So she's been playing Mario 1, and it's been amazing. We'll keep her simple. She does get to go over one of her friend's house that lives down the street, and she plays Mario Kart with him and his sister, and they have a good time too. So that's about as good as it gets here. My husband's a very big PlayStation guy. I'm more of an old school gamer. I just don't have the time, at least I don't feel like I have the time to really put into, just the games right now. They're amazing, and they look so much, a lot of them look like so much fun, and the storytelling in a lot of them also, but I just don't feel like I have the time to sink into them and just grind like people do for hours on end. I would love to one day, but I don't know. Yeah, I remember the original Xbox. I think my husband had one of those too for a brief period. Oh, you know what? It might have been, am I making it up when I say an Xbox X or something like that? I feel like he had that for a brief period of time, but then he ended up just trading that in maybe a year or two later, but I'm forgetting. Anyways, we digress. Yes. Josh, you're in Orlando for the week. Well, I'm glad you're having some decent weather there. Oh my gosh, I bet it gets hot. I hear the only time that you like Florida weather is in the winter. At least for, and that's why we got the snowbirds from PA and whatnot. Anyway, hi John, thanks for jumping in here. Oh, you are playing the retro OG Xbox. Okay, so, alright, last thing I'll say about gaming here, I never played the Pokemon trading card game as a kid. But since they've come out with this app that does it, that is what I play now, if it wants to load up here. Of course, the Wi-Fi, as I stall more time here talking about games like a loser, I actually really like it. It is very addicting. And I've got my prized 2-star Shiny Mew card, and Ava loves it too. So much so that she actually plays the physical trading card game and now has a binder where she collects all of her cards and stuff. So it's been a cool thing to do together as a family and whatnot. Anywho, okay, I'm done. Oh, don't worry, Jonathan. I'm not going to start over. I promise you didn't miss much. We already went down the rabbit hole. Anywho, summarizing though for you, Jonathan, and getting back on the train here, since we kind of, took a little pit stop, getting back on the weather train here, we did end up, getting some showers, a line of gusty showers developing, moving into our western spots like Franklin County. There is a 2% tornado chance in Lancaster and York counties, but I really wasn't seeing much of a case for it during the afternoon model runs and even the refresh again for the evening. So I'm really not too concerned about that, and I think the fact that we really didn't get to build up too much energy, even with the sunshine that managed to break out this afternoon, dew points never really spiked either, so the difference between temperature and dew point, that gap is still really big. I think it's a very big ask at this point. I think we could get some pretty strong non-thunderstorm wind gusts with this. I wouldn't rule out some 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts, but I'm not concerned. I'm not. There was a brief point in time about an hour, was it an hour ago now? Yeah, roughly an hour ago now at this point, where I might have been a little concerned, but that fizzled quickly, so yes. So, of course, here we are. We'll keep the gusty winds, though, moving into Monday. Morning shower or two, I think, will still linger, but I think once we get past midnight, a lot of the rain that's out there is just going to fall apart and exit. Still some stray showers with a secondary system that's going to swing in Tuesday, and that's what's going to bring our cool burst of fall air, and where we could, for the first time, get some lake effect rain showers in our area. Well, probably more along the line of sprinkles for most of us, but there could be a light brief shower or two in Mifflin and Juniata counties. Those are our two most prone lake effect counties here in south central Pennsylvania. And then we do moderate a tad heading into the weekend. Depends on whether or not we get some rain in the forecast Sunday, but I don't know. Right now, all indication is that it'll more than likely stay just to our south and we have just a bunch of clouds. That could change. Stand by on that. Oh, you had a tree. Whoa, Jason, you had a tree that blew up on you while you were, like, literally blew up? Like, exploded, blew up? Or like blew over? Sorry, I'm just need some clarification there. That's wild. That is wild. Regardless, anyway. Yeah, this isn't quite the front front, Jonathan, that switches us to fall. Sometimes you need multiple systems that just kind of come, and then that helps just punch in the next round, and then there comes the cooler air with the secondary round. It's kind of like those little bits that chip away at it. But I think we're still going to be very variable temperature-wise through the end of the month. I still think we're going to get some big swings, maybe some better rain chances for the final week of October. And we'll talk about that, so stay tuned there. But at least I think for this part, we just have to worry about the rain getting into the picture here and hopefully picking up some decent amounts. This is what the satellite and radar looks like at this point in time. And again, you know, this was where I thought, oh, hey, maybe I got to worry just a little bit. And then just like that, it was gone. Right here when this was passing through Franklin, at least the southwestern portion of Franklin County. And now it just looks like it's petering out to a whole big nothing burger. So, burger, yum. Anyways, so this is just, you know, showers getting in, a brief downpour here or there. I'll take a wider view for you guys, too, once I click the right tool. Here we go. So, I mean, behind this initial line, there's really not much. Maybe a heftier pocket or two, but I wouldn't worry too much. I think once this part shifts to the east, I mean, there goes our chance. And you can already tell. I mean, notice the reds. It's already weakening. And like I said, we didn't get to build up the energy through the day, so there's nothing to help sustain it past sunset. So I think just the overall weakening trend is what's going to be the overall idea here as this line continues to move from west to east. Not to say that it can't be gusty, for sure. You might get some pretty potent wind gusts in a few spots as this moves to the east, but other than that, yes. Yeah, it definitely overdue. I know. I'm so tired of being hot, and I hate that it feels like in more recent years, so many falls. It feels like it's more like flipping a switch than that gradual enjoy the cool fall weather, the breezes, the crisp windy days. I just, and I know as we continue to warm over the years, I mean, that's what's supposed to happen, but I don't know, experiencing it in real time where it feels like our falls truly are stunted, and it's my favorite season, so I hate it. I do. Yeah, oh yeah, the temperatures will be good sleeping weather, and the wind, if you crack it open, you might have to, well, I wouldn't open those windows too wide tonight just in case some rain gets in, but yes, it'll be some of those good nights where the wind will help too, at least once we get past tonight and conditions are drier. Oh, okay, so it just blew. Oh, wow, Jason, that's wild. I'm glad that you're okay. And Christy, yes, we definitely need the rain. I'm assuming you're talking about the fire that's near, oh shoot, it's escaping me. Is it the Jefferson area no, oh shoot, I feel like that's not right. I want to say that. Oh man, Jackson Township. Is it Jackson Town? I think it's Jackson Township in southwestern York County. But it's been wild. I mean, I'm not surprised with how dry. We don't know what started the fire yet, at least not to my knowledge. I don't believe our newsroom has gotten an update on that yet. But I mean, hopefully this rain will help as it comes in the next couple of hours, first of all. And second of all, when it's just been so dry and so windy, all you need, and from what I understand, it started from a mulch pile, if I'm remembering the little bit of information that we had on it already. But, I mean, all you need is that one ember when the breezes are this wild. It carries off, and boom, there you go. Yeah, it is near Spring Grove. I did hear, you know what, maybe it's because Jackson Township's fire company was responding to it, and that's what I'm thinking of. But regardless, yes, it's, whew, I just hope we get the rain and it can help with that. But just make sure, because I know this is the time of year where we like to do bonfires and whatnot. I mean, I might just put out a video short of this tomorrow too, just reminding everybody, check with your local municipality for burn bans. Even if you don't have one, just with how dry it's been and the wind's kicking up too a lot this week, just be extra cautious with that burning. You know, it just, you know, it's better to be, I always believe, maybe I'm a little bit of a wart, I am, but it's just better to be safe than sorry in these situations. It's no joke, really. Hi, Irving. Yeah, I'm not matching anything. I call this my fall dress, sort of. because it's like a pink fall, then it's a brown fall, and then, well, you can't see the bottom, but the bottom half is black. It's kind of like that nice little transition. I don't know. Anywho, oh, you had to go to the hospital? Oh, well, I'm glad you were okay, Jason. That's for sure. And then, yep, hurricane season. I mean, that's the time of year. Yes, Invest 98L moving into the Caribbean over the next few days. And we'll talk about that a little bit, too. I mean, there's really not much to say about it other than what I just said. But I've got a little taste of that as well. So, you know, the rain is here. Thank goodness. We need it. Wider view here just to give everybody the overall picture. We still do have some more beneficial rain to get through out of all of this, which is good, but it's all going to be lifting to the northeast as it does so. So some of us are going to get gypped on the tail end as this all happens, but I think, you know, most of us, a nice, decent little soaking. Hopefully it'll help put the fire out over by Spring Grove. And, you know, hopefully firefighters, you know, they'll be safe and everything, and we wish them the best, as we always do, for doing what they do to protect us and our property and whatnot. Cold front, really not going to be a big temperature. It's not going to bring a huge temperature drop, rather. What's going to happen is a brief little hit of cooler air behind it, but it's more seasonal as opposed to really on the cool side. And then this warm front will sneak up later Tuesday. The cold front swings through overnight, and this is where the cool burst of air is really going to come from. So that's going to be something for sure that we're keeping an eye on for the middle of the week. Maybe a couple more stray showers out of it, but as far as meaningful rain goes, this evening and tonight, it's the time for it. So with that said, we'll track that on Futurecast. I mean, this one's initialized all right. I feel like it could have the more convective rain, maybe a little better initialized here, but it's at least got the general idea. It does try to bring some of it back and flare it up a little, but again, with the fact that we didn't really get to build too much energy, if you're looking for thunder or if you're concerned about any severe weather, at this point I really would not be. And then it just becomes some scattered, spotty showers before it ultimately wraps up, lifts to the north. We could get some morning showers. It would be few and far between. Maybe not a bad idea to have the umbrellas. The kids are heading off to the bus stop, and of course, grown-ups too. Or at least something that might have a hood, raincoat maybe, something that can go in the backpacks. And then you'll see more sunshine. It's still going to be windy, though, for the afternoon. And the afternoon will be dry for sure. I think our rain chances are really going to be contained to the morning hours more than anything. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right, Irving. Don't burn or dig a deep, deep hole. And yes, watch it very closely. I mean, even sometimes, though, when you take all of the precautions you possibly can, I mean, sometimes it's just never enough. And that's why I just say sometimes it's just not worth risking it, especially when you know, with the winds being so strong, that it can turn what would otherwise be like a small problem and maybe something manageable, make it incredibly worse than it would otherwise be. But yes, Jason, you say check with local forest district. That's a good tip. Thank you for that. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Here's another Futurecast model. This is our HRRR model. I just want to show it. It's usually pretty decent as well. It can be a little overly convective. So what do I mean by that? It might overdo the oranges and the reds and whatnot. But it's got a pretty good idea. I mean, yeah, still has this moving through by about 9 o'clock. Still waiting on that rain in southwestern York County to help with that fire, man, while they try to put it out. And then, of course, it continues to shift its way east, as you would expect. And as it does so, maybe some downpours. Like I said, I wouldn't rule out a rumble of thunder, but at this point, I think it's going to be really hard to come by here. And then it's got the same idea after midnight, where the showers gradually go from scattered to more widely scattered, tapering to maybe just a few by daybreak. All right, this one, maybe a little more oomph to that batch of showers on the back end here. Again, still have the umbrella. The message remains the same, but I mean, that's it. We've got clouds coming in. I mean, the rain, sun breaking through, mixing with those clouds. Overall, looks like it's the same. Rainfall amounts. Now, these are rainfall totals that correspond with the first model that I showed you. And it generally has roughly a quarter of an inch of rainfall, maybe an isolated spot or two, depending on if you get some of those yellows, maybe closer to a half of an inch of rainfall, but it doesn't exactly look like the norm. Here's the HRRR's rainfall totals. Now, I did say it tends to be a little happier with the heavier downpours here, and I think that is reflected in these totals, but I mean, mostly quarter of an inch in spots, maybe some spots get upwards of a half of an inch of rainfall, but obviously put in the full context of how dry we've been and what we need. I mean, and how dry we're going to be the rest of the week. I mean, this is just, it's not enough. The drought conditions just keep worsening. We really need to start getting these systems giving us rain back to back, maybe every at least 2 to 4 days, even if it's at least a half of an inch or a quarter to a half of an inch of rainfall. We really need to do. We really need to. Oh, do I need a water break? No, I don't need a water break. It's just a little bit of a struggle talking with my dental aligners this time around, Adam. I'm trying to work through it here, though. These ones I put in, sorry if I'm repeating this for anybody who heard it already, but I put in a new tray on Friday, and it has been a little more difficult adjusting to these ones and figuring out how to talk, which I guess is a good thing because it means it's shifting my teeth. Anywho, now I'm moving on. Let's see. Yeah, that's a good idea just in case, Jason. Just to make sure that you're doing the right thing and whatnot. B. Dean, you say HRRR still over mixing on PWATS this time of year. I would say no by this time of year. I just think, in situations that might be a little overly convective, I always just find no matter what the time of year is, it can often overdo it. So I always feel like I have to take 20-30% off in my head, so to speak. But it usually does a really good job with timing and placement, and if there's any particular feature, it really locks on good within 24 hours. Anything after 24 hours, I feel like you have to, because I know it can go out to 48 hours, but I feel like you have to take it with a grain of salt after that. I kind of use it more for an idea and see how it lines up with the other high resolution and even global models before making that decision. Oh, well, thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate it. Now that you say it, though, now it's called enough attention to me that I am going to take a sip of water. See if it helps, though. Speaking of which, here is how behind we are on the water this year. So far, anyway. Approaching 3 inches behind, and keep in mind, this is Harrisburg, so specifically Harrisburg International Airport, so there are other areas that are probably needing more, a little more than that, and I don't think it's too many, but there might be a couple areas that number is a little less, but considering how uniform the rain has mostly been, and the lack thereof has been even more uniform, I feel like that number is probably a good range for most folks in our area. And with that said, I want to show the more recent, or the most recent drought monitor update that came out this past Thursday on the 16th, and we did see expansion of our stage 1. So the abnormally dry category, the yellow one here, this is our stage 0 drought category. They start with 0 for this for whatever reason. And that expanded through the rest of our area. York, all of Lancaster counties are now included in it, but we also did see the D1, the drought 1 category, which corresponds to moderate drought in this tannish color here. It also expanded farther east through much of Perry County, and then it started to move into Dauphin County, and then of course other counties to the north and to the northwest as well, like Snyder, Northumberland, Schuylkill counties. And that's going through the Lehigh Valley. And this severe drought, this stage 2, started to pop up in the Lehigh Valley. I believe, is that Carpenter or is that Monroe County? I think that might be Monroe County. Regardless, and then that's Pike County. Regardless, though, I mean, seeing that surge in, and look at this, the extreme drought category still here in the southwestern portion of the state. I mean, it's getting worse and short, and we need to really we need to shift our pattern to one that just keeps bringing that really just keeps bringing more and more rain, at least every 2 to 4 days. I'd even settle for 4 days if it meant getting 2 systems in a week, mostly. But we'll see how it goes, unfortunately. Let me see. You say it definitely compares with the NAM3, and Barron seemed to do okay for me to an extent. There's been so much. I know, right? I feel like there's been even the severe weather season, I feel like, has been kind of meh, at least in our area. I really can't speak to other parts of the state, like Western Pennsylvania and Far Eastern Pennsylvania, because obviously I've been working in South Central Pennsylvania for so long now. And I really do focus on here more than everything, obviously. Yeah, we do have a sister station in DC. They do forecast outside with a weather screen sometimes. Yes. We've debated it. I know we've talked about it a few times, but it's just a matter of where we would put it. If you saw the way our station was kind of set up and you saw the space we had available, you would kind of understand, and I'm really not sure. And then, of course, there's always budget, you know? Everything, a lot of places, you know, it's do more with less, and do with what you have, and so I don't know. I think that would be a tough ask, and even tougher ask this year than it would have been last year or even the year before that, with the direction things seem to be going anyway. But it never hurts to dream, right? Maybe one day would be nice. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's where Matt Capucci came from. Oh, you hear thunder. Ooh, here, let's back it up. Let me see if I got some thunder. Are you sure it's not just wind? I'm going to back this up on the radar and see if we have any lightning strikes. Boom, boom. Sorry, guys. I'm about to give many of you a headache. Oop, okay, now I went back too far. Nope. There we go. We're going rogue here. We're going wild. We're going off script. Hey, come on. Am I back there now? I think I'm back there. No, I'm not. Back that up. There we go. All right. Now we're where we need to be. Auto advance was not doing me any good there. Watching. It's possible, and it's maybe possible that it just didn't register it yet, Jason, but I mean, I wouldn't rule it out for sure. A rumble or two, unless it's just the wind howling or throwing something around, that's also another possibility, but I feel like that's a pretty distinct sound. We'll see. Don't be shocked. I think that's kind of the takeaway message here. Now I'm going to drive everybody crazy and jump ahead back to where I was. You're welcome. This is a wild stream tonight, guys. I know. All right. We'll try to keep it we'll try to keep it somewhat contained the rest of this stream anyway. And I will catch up too. Yeah, except the northern plains this year. Yes, this is very true. I did notice that for sure. It did seem like, the Mississippi River Valley, I think it was, if I'm remembering right, or maybe just a little west of the Mississippi River Valley, at least started strong, like back in the spring, but then it just seemed like most folks kind of went lackluster after that. There was no real, I mean, I guess that's a good thing, because you know, we don't want people to get hurt, we don't want property to be destroyed, so a quote-unquote quieter season compared to what's climatologically our average is certainly a welcome one, regardless. And yeah, the March events in Dixie and Upper Midwest were exceptions. Yeah, but I know what ones you're talking about, but yeah, that was really about it. And it wasn't, the same favorable area week after week. They were just kind of, I don't want to say one-offs, because it's not like it's uncommon for them to get severe weather, but it just seems like, a couple places got it bad, and that was really it. It wasn't the same places that tend to get hammered in Tornado Alley over and over again like we usually do see. Very interesting for sure. But, I mean, again, it's never a bad thing when we have quiet, severe weather season in places that normally get that, especially. We don't, want the bad things to happen. As for a weather nerd, as interesting as they are and fun to watch on radar and follow and whatnot. Wind gusts, though, still strong tomorrow. Wind gusts will be between 30-35 miles an hour. I wouldn't rule out some 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts, especially late morning around midday. And I do actually have some wind gusts to read off. I didn't have time to put it together and make a graphic out of it once I saw that this is available. But I'll just read off a couple of the more impressive ones. At HIA, Harrisburg International Airport, 35-mile-an-hour wind gust. Man, that wasn't the most impressive, but here were some of the more impressive ones. Chambersburg in Franklin County, a 47-mile-an-hour gust. It says 1 mile, a reporting station 1 mile to the north-northwest of Marion in Franklin County had a 44-mile-an-hour wind gust. Manheim in Lancaster County, that's a little north of, or is it north or is it northwest? Anyway, it is in Lancaster County. It's close to Lancaster City. 42-mile-per-hour wind gust. And then Shrewsbury in York County, that's a little south of York, almost at the PA-Maryland border, Mason-Dixon line, but not quite there. That was a 40-mile-an-hour wind gust. Capital City Airport, 39-mile-an-hour wind gust. Mount Wolf, which is a little more north, if sort of off of 83 north of York. That was another 39-mile-an-hour wind gust. But this was printed out at 5:26, so it's very possible that we do get some higher wind gusts as, you know, the main line moves through over the next several hours. And then tomorrow we could certainly get some higher ones too. It'll still be breezy Tuesday, just not as breezy. 25-mile-an-hour wind gusts seem to be what to expect. And then, of course, Wednesday, I think 20 to 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts are a good call. I think it'll be a gusty one. And although Thursday is not pictured here, maybe just a tad down for Thursday, but I think overall Thursday looks pretty similar as far as wind gusts go right about now. Temperatures, though. Now, the average high for Harrisburg for today's date is 65 degrees. We'll be close to that tomorrow. A little bit higher than that. Briefly warmer Tuesday, but not as warm as today. Today made it to 73 for Harrisburg, according to the climate data that came out today. And then we've got some 50s. I wouldn't call it sweater weather just yet. I feel like at least my threshold is 40s for sweater weather, but maybe sweatshirts, hoodie weather, sweatshirts and hoodies. I feel like, you know, that's the time. And I like those days too. And the breeze adds a little bit of a chill too. These will also be cloudy days too, because I think we'll get that lake effect influence as well. And that's why I think we could get some sprinkles, especially to our north and to our west. So that'll be something to keep in mind. I think the farther north and farther west you live, though, in the state, might be more like scattered light rain showers because of the setup, or upper level atmosphere setup that's going to be in place all the way through Thursday. I think the breezes will die down and we'll get a little more sun Friday, but I don't really think we start moderating just yet. Maybe a little bit once we get past Thursday, which right now is looking like our coolest day, but by the weekend, we'll be a little more seasonal for this time of year. And then you said, oh, where are we? March had that high on 314 and 315, and then, yeah, crickets. Yeah, that's right. Your poor, poor wallet. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry about that. There's always next year, I guess, right? I think so. Next season. Speaking of which, next week, temperature outlook. This is for the 27th through the 2nd. So this is next week's outlook for temperatures. It does look like we will have some warmer than average swing. The whole stretch will not be warmer than average, but close to Halloween, it looks like a brief little sliver of warmth is going to try to slip in. And this is the part I'm most excited for. I'm excited for this part. We're actually favoring above, at least we're favoring above normal rainfall, which is something we need. So hopefully we can get a couple systems to bring us a little bit of rain. One in particular that we might end up with at some point, second half of next week to the end. Hopefully, though, it dries out just in time for Halloween and for trick-or-treating. Also, my child's birthday, so it's fun all around, so I'm, like, double invested in it for that reason. But, I mean, fingers crossed here, guys, because once we get past tonight, it's looking pretty dry, at least heading through the weekend. We might get a little bit of rain trying to move in Sunday, Monday time frame, but I'm not so convinced on that yet. Right now I see it as a pretty small chance, but I think this mid to late week chance for the following week not this week, next week, I think that looks much more promising. So that's the one that, hopefully can help us out a little bit with rainfall. It looks pretty likely right now. Fingers crossed. Let's hope it doesn't get, sapped of its moisture and whatnot. So let's talk tropical weather. There is, of course, something that we're keeping an eye on. And this one down, this wave here that you see that's currently situated down in the Caribbean. Well, technically it's crossed the Leeward Islands and now moving into, of course, the Caribbean. It's expected to, of course, continue tracking through the Caribbean and Mexico. Right now, it really doesn't look like it's going to hook north into the Gulf. This looks like, it's got a high chance of developing in the next 7 days. That's a 70% chance. But as this happens, we're definitely, going to watch it just track away regardless by the looks of it. The next name, I believe it's Lorenzo, right? Or no, we just had Lorenzo. Just kidding. Lorenzo's no longer around. That was last week. Melissa would be the next name. Melissa is next. So that would be the 13th named storm of the season, which is pretty much average. This so far has looked like a fairly average season as far as named storms, hurricanes, major hurricanes. Fortunately, it feels like a quiet season too, because no major hurricane has made landfall in the United States this year, which is good. I feel like we kind of need a break. I feel like the break can last as long as it wants, forever, but we all know obviously that that's just not the way it will work. But yes, he said not too long before lake effect snow season begins. Snow is always a draw. Yes, well, I hope for you too that, at least a little bit of lake effect. I think it could be a pretty active lake effect season. From what I've seen, La Niñas can help out a good bit with that because the storm track does favor, at least for the first half of the winter anyway, before we lose the La Niña that appeared, but the storm track does favor the Great Lakes. Sometimes the Mid-Atlantic too, but it's usually Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, and parts of the Mid-Atlantic, depending on the ultimate track and how strong of a La Niña it is, but it does help lake effect for that reason. And you can, depending on the setup, get more cold in too. I think we might be backlogged with the cold. We might have some swings to start through the first half of winter from what I'm seeing so far, but, we'll see. We don't officially dive into our winter weather outlook until a little bit later in the month. Actually, we're almost getting there. Right around November 1st is when I get to it, and we get working on it to have it ready for you by mid-November, so that's coming, everybody. Teasing it there. But yes, this one, and we still have hurricane season. Sorry, I have an itch. I'm not picking my nose. See? It's right here. It's the side. I think it was a stray flyaway that was doing it. But anyway, we still have a lot of hurricane season left. Of course, the chance really drops drastically through November, but we technically do have until November 30th, so there still is a full month left, but I think we'll see this come to an end, around normal time. This seems like this has been a pretty normal season where we're seeing the next favorable area for development. We usually start to see the Eastern Atlantic shut down pretty quickly through October, and then usually it's just the Caribbean and the Gulf and maybe the the Southwest Atlantic. So fingers crossed the U.S. can get through this season unscathed to make up for, well, way too much the last several years at this point. But yes, and we'll close it with another look at the weather impact 7-day forecast here at home. Tied up, put a nice little pretty bow on it. Again, a couple morning showers, then it's just gusty, more sunshine for your Monday, seasonal temperatures. There's that spike, and then hello fall. Hoodie weather, sweatshirt weather. Not too crazy with the lows, though. I do want to point that out. The breezes and the clouds will likely keep most of us out of the 30s during this chillier stretch. I think the day to watch would be Saturday right now, for some chilly, cold lows in the 30s. Otherwise, we briefly start to turn milder for the tail end of the weekend. This is kind of the part now where we wrap it up and we say goodbye and whatnot. So if there are any lingering questions, let me know here. Let's see. Oh, And there are more comments. Here we go. Hoping for at least one landfall or late season. You went for Nicole in 22, so maybe. I mean, it's always possible. It, you know how the saying goes, and I'm summarizing it, but it ain't over till it's over. I think, you can never count out anything. But fingers crossed, so far so good. Let's hope we're not jinxing it. Knock on wood, although I'm pretty sure this isn't real wood that I'm sitting on. I'm sure it's that, piecemeal stuff, that cheap piecemeal stuff, but whatever. Anyway, a week before that Buffalo snow event. Oh man. Yeah, I remember that. That was wild. And yes, Jonathan, I agree. Hoodie weather is the best weather. But I think that does it for now, everybody. Really do. Adam. I always make sure to go beforehand, Adam, and that's why I don't have to. And I didn't drink the water too much. I always have it nearby as a crutch just in case. And I only felt I needed it once. Really, it's just the difficulty trying to talk through it, not the fact that my mouth is dry and from all the talking and that I feel like I need the water, but it always helps. And you're very welcome, Jonathan. It's really nice to do this every week. I know we got a little off tangent, big time at times in the beginning, guys, but I really appreciate, you guys tuning in, the chat, talk the weather, nerd out and whatnot. Of course, we'll be back with on Cloud43. That'll be next week, which will be, is it the 27th by that point? No, 26th, I believe. Sunday the 26th at 8 p.m. sharp. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Sunday night and a wonderful week ahead. Of course, I'll be around. You can always find me on Facebook, and you can always find everything you need in South Central PA at fox43.com/weather. Bye-bye. Adam, I just saw a cookie. You're hilarious.